heavenly message revealed for you today. 3 miracles await your faith. The twilight enveloped the quaint village, a hush settling upon the rolling hills as Sarah knelt before a beloved statue of St. Jude, the patron saint of hopeless cases. She could almost feel the very air vibrating with divine electricity, a whisper of heaven creeping into her heart. "Oh God, I need you now." Her words trembled with desperation as tears flowed down her cheeks. In that sacred moment, a voice echoed within her soul, rich and powerful. "Faith is the bridge to your daughter's healing. Hold on, miracles await." A shiver raced down her spine. Could it be? Was hope truly on the horizon? But even as her spirit soared, skepticism tugged at her heart. Doubt, like a persistent shadow, whispered that the illness afflicting her only daughter, Emily, was insurmountable. The doctors had surrendered. Could her feeble faith wrestle with the weight of such despair? That Sunday, the congregation gathered at the historic chapel, united in fervent prayer. Pastor John's gentle voice resonated throughout the sacred space, urging everyone to pray without ceasing for Emily. Faith ignited like wildfire, hands clasped in unity, hearts beating with hope. Sarah stood at the center, the community's love wrapping around her like a warm blanket. "We will pray, we will believe," she declared, her voice trembling. A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd, each face radiating divine hope. Around the village, whispers of Sarah's miraculous message spread like the buds of spring. Each week, Sarah invited her closest friends for their prayer group, their supplications rising towards the heavens. As their circle grew, the energy buzzed with purpose. With each session, the atmosphere thickened, pregnant with the expectation of a miracle. But then, tragedy struck. One friend, who had been the backbone of their prayers, suddenly revealed a secret that cracked their unity open like an exposed wound. Abandonment plagued this soul. Whispered rumors of infidelity spread like wildfire through the group. Hearts that once beat as one now pulsed hesitantly. Sarah's faith faltered, her spirit sagging under the weight of whispers and doubts. Could they still receive a miracle when their prayers felt fragmented? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The moment felt heavy, a piercing silence that filled their hearts with dread. Just as despair threatened to swallow them whole, something shifted. In one divine instant, the air tinged with gold, lights flickered in and out, creating an ethereal glow. A cacophony of celestial sounds enveloped them. Bells rang without touch, and a shimmering presence filled the chapel. "A miracle! A miracle!" echoed among them like a chorus from heaven. Would this divine encounter strengthen Sarah's wavering faith? Would it bridge the chasm of doubt and bind the community with unwavering trust? As the village bore witness to the extraordinary, a question stirred within their midst. Was this their moment to witness the unimaginable? With hearts beating fast, they paused, holding their breath in eager anticipation of whether God would move and redefine their understanding of faith itself. A hush fell over the chapel, vibrant with hope. The shimmering presence pulsed with warmth, as if heaven had come down to cradle them. Sarah felt the tears welling up once again, not from despair, but from a flicker of divine change. The whispers of doubt faded, replaced by a quiet assurance that echoed in every heart. God was in their midst. "Shh," a gentle voice called out, breaking the spell of silence. It was Pastor John, stepping closer, his eyes gleaming with fervor. "Let us open our hearts for what God wishes to impart. This is no ordinary moment. Miracles happen when we believe. Remember, every miracle begins with faith. As he spoke, the congregation leaned in. Faces, once gripped by skepticism, now twinkled with a glimmer of hope. Sarah's heart raced. She remembered the revelation she'd received at St. Jude's statue. Faith as a bridge. Could trust in the unseen not draw forth the extraordinary? With renewed vigor, they began to pray, voices harmonizing like a symphony of belief. Father, we come together, unified in spirit. Heal Emily and let your light shine through her. The collective cry pierced through the heaviness, rising into the heavens like an incense offering. Faith soared. Suddenly, amidst the fervent prayers, a voice rang out. It was Claire, her friend whose revelation had initially crumbled their circle. I felt lost, burdened by my own darkness, but today I choose to let it go. I want to believe again. She stepped forward, tears streaming down, and with her admission, a wave of freedom burst forth in the chapel. Let's lift each other. No more secrets of despair, only revelations of grace, another friend chimed in. One by one, hearts opened. Sins and burdens were confessed, and with each spoken word, a weight was lifted from the gathering. Unity blossomed, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. In this moment of shared vulnerability, the atmosphere crackled with electricity. Each prayer became a lifeline, intertwining their faith and pulling them closer to God's heart. Hope infused their words. The presence enveloping them thickened, shimmering like starlight. Could it be? Was heaven truly drawing near? As if answering their plea, a radiant light illuminated the altar. It burst forth from nowhere, casting brilliant shadows across the chapel walls. Gasps erupted from the assembly. Sarah looked around, her spirit ignited. Could a miracle be manifesting right before their eyes? In the glowing light stood a figure wrapped in luminescence, shimmering like the dawn. I am here, the figure spoke, voice melodic and comforting. Your prayers have reached my ears. Miracles are not just signs, they're expressions of my love. Floating on the edge of a miracle, Sarah trembled. She could sense that divine promise rippling through her, a message of transformation not only for Emily, but also for the faith that had been rekindled within the community. She turned to those around her, and they shared a collective gasp of wonder and disbelief. Still, butterflies of anxiety wove through her heart. Was this truly the moment when everything would change? Did their faith, now reborn in honesty and connection, possess the power to unlock the doors of healing? Then silence fell again, a heavy hush filled with expectation. What would be revealed next? Would they seize this moment and trust in the incredible unfolding of God's plan? Hope hung in the air like a shimmering thread, inviting them further into the mystery of His love. As they waited with bated breath, the promise of divine intervention loomed ever closer. Would they dare to take that leap of faith, even now, when miracles felt within reach? The light around the figure pulsed gently, as if breathing with anticipation. Sarah felt her heart flutter, a mixture of apprehension and longing coursed through her. The air was electric, charged with the possibility of something monumental unfolding before them. "Do you believe?" the figure continued, its voice full of grace, each syllable resonating deep within the souls gathered there. "Your faith has called me here. It is not the measure of your belief that I seek, but the sincerity of your hearts. Will you trust in the unseen?" As those words hung in the air, they settled deeply into the minds of everyone present. What did trust really mean? Could they release their fears, their doubts, and truly believe? Each person weighed the question, shifting their gaze to one another, seeking affirmation. Sarah caught Claire's eye and saw a reflection of her own wrestling spirit. "Lord, we commit ourselves to you," Claire whispered, as if voicing the unspoken feelings of every person in the room. "In this moment, we choose faith. We let go of our burdens and come before you with open hands." A collective murmur of agreement rippled through the congregation, voices rising softly but firmly like a gentle wave cresting. "We believe," they echoed, hearts united. This was more than a chant. It was a foundation upon which they could rebuild. Sarah closed her eyes, allowing the warmth of their unity to wash over her, like sunlight melting away the frost of doubt. Suddenly, the figure stepped forward, enveloped in a radiance that illuminated the entire chapel. "Then receive what I have for you." The air shimmered, almost tangible. The atmosphere felt thick with potential. With a tender gesture, the figure raised its hands, and a cascade of light swirled, dancing above them. "Miracles," it said softly, "are born from belief. One for Emily, restoration for her health. One for Claire, a new path illuminated with hope. And one for you, Sarah, a heart unshackled from fear." Sarah gasped as the word struck her. A miracle? Just for her? Suddenly, an overwhelming sense of peace flooded her heart. It was as if chains that had held her captive for so long were snapping apart. She felt the closing grip of anxiety loosen. The whisper of doubt began to dissolve. Tears streamed down her cheeks, not from sadness, but from joy, realization, and release. Around her, she saw the other faces, all experiencing similar waves of transformation. Hearts that once felt like stones now melted into hope. "Embrace this moment," the figure encouraged, "for today is the day of miracles. Yet, remember, faith is not a single moment. It's a journey together. Lift one another. Speak life into the faith of those around you." The gathered souls leaned into this declaration, uplifting one another with words of encouragement. Each story shared a thread woven into the tapestry of communal faith that was taking shape. Sarah felt the heartbeat of the chapel pulsing stronger, an undeniable rhythm of collective hope that rose to meet the divine. "Let us not forget," the figure reminded them, "the path of miracles requires perseverance, hope, and love. Each step forward is a testament of faith. Be expectant. The canvas of God's love is vast, and He is continuously painting your story." As the radiant presence began to recede, the sense of urgency and expectation filled the room. Would they embrace the call to courage? Would they stand firm in faith, not only for their own miracles, but for each other's? There was still so much left to discover, so many questions left to answer. What awaited them on this journey of faith? Would they trust enough to step forth into the unknown, into the promises that lay just beyond the horizon? Hope lingered, inviting them onward, into the unfolding mystery of what God had planned next. As the figure stepped back into the veil of light, Sarah felt a wave of stillness envelop her, a calm so profound that it washed away the last remnants of her fears. The chapel, once filled with hopeful murmurs, fell into silence as each person grappled with the weight of the moment. She opened her eyes slowly, taking in the faces around her. Emily was seated nearby, her eyes glistening with renewed vigor. Claire's face glowed, filled with an unshakable resolve. They had laid their burdens down, and in that exchange of faith, a new energy surged among them. "Did you feel that?" Emily whispered, her voice trembling with excitement. "It was like God was right here." "Yes," Claire replied, nodding eagerly. "It was as if we were all somehow connected, our faith pulling together to form something alive." Sarah felt an unnameable force stirring within her. This was no mere gathering. This was a holy moment. She recalled the figure's words. Faith is a journey together. What would they do next? Perhaps we should share our stories, Sarah suggested, her voice breaking through the silence like a gentle breeze. Let us speak about the miracles we desire, the ones we believe in. A wave of agreement rippled through the room. One by one, people began to open their hearts, sharing dreams long buried under layers of disappointment and fear. Some spoke of healing, others of guidance, while a few sought reconciliation in relationships strained by time. Every story held a piece of their collective faith, each shared longing like a brushstroke adding depth to the divine masterpiece unfolding around them. As they spoke, the air bristled with possibility. Every word spoken resonated, echoing the figure's promise of miracles. Sarah could feel the presence returning, the warmth wrapping around them like a comforting embrace. Hope transformed into tangible expectation. Let's lift our voices in prayer, Claire suggested, her face radiant. Let us declare what we believe together. With hands clasped and hearts aligned, they formed a circle, their voices rising in harmony. The cadence of their prayers intermingled, a beautiful tapestry of faith covering the chapel. Sarah could feel something shifting, the atmosphere thickening with divine energy, pressing against them like a heavy mist. Lord, she began, we trust in you. We believe in your miracles. Heal Emily's body, show Claire the path ahead, and set my heart free to love without fear. Others joined in fervently, voicing their desires, supported by the unwavering chorus of Amen that followed each plea. In that fervent atmosphere, time seemed to suspend. Each prayer became a seed planted in the fertile soil of faith, waiting for the promise of growth and harvest. Then, suddenly, the lights dimmed. A low hum resonated through the air, vibrating in harmony with their beat of hope. The figure reappeared, radiant once more. Your cries are heard, it declared, filling the room with piercing clarity. Let not your hearts grow weary. Your faith has made way for the supernatural. Expect the unexpected. A shiver ran through Sarah, her heart pounding with anticipation. Would their lives be transformed in ways they couldn't yet see? The figure spoke of expectancy. What did God have in store for them? With hope radiating from every soul present, the figure stepped forward, its voice layered with divine authority. What if you believed fully? What if your next step unfolds more than a miracle? Just beyond the horizon lies an invitation to a journey deeper than you know. The promise echoed in the corners of Sarah's heart, igniting a fire of curiosity and determination. What lay beyond that horizon? What further revelations awaited them on this path of faith? As time seemed to stand still, the future unfolded like a beautiful mystery, ready to beckon them forth. As the figure's words hung in the air, a palpable energy pulsed through the chapel. Each heart beat like a drum. Sarah could hardly breathe, her spirit craving the answers hidden behind the veil of mystery. What do you think it means? Emily's question broke the tension, her eyes wide with wonder. I think it means we haven't seen anything yet, Claire replied, an excited smile spreading across her face. There's more to this journey than we've imagined. The group nodded, their unity solidifying. They felt invincible, as if the walls around them could not contain the surge of divine energy radiating from their hearts. Let's take a moment to reflect on our next steps, Sarah suggested, her voice soft but firm. What is it we truly seek? I want clarity in my life, a clear direction, Claire said, her brow furrowed in contemplation. The uncertainty has weighed on me. Emily chimed in. I seek healing, body and soul. I want to be restored. Her voice trembled slightly, the truth of her struggle surfacing amid the shared vulnerability. As they exchanged thoughts, Sarah could sense a profound readiness among them. They were not just sharing their desires, they were preparing to act on the faith they so fervently clung to. A divine anticipation lit their faces. "I think we need to go deeper," Sarah said. "What if we put ourselves in places where miracles can happen? What if we step out of our comfort zones?" "Like what?" Emily asked, tilting her head. "What if we serve our community, volunteer somewhere, offer our time and skills?" Claire suggested, her excitement building. "Sometimes the act of serving opens doors we never knew existed." Sarah felt warmed by the thought. The idea of reaching out, of moving even further into faith, sparked a glow within her. They had a choice: stay within these familiar walls or take the leap into the unknown. The figure watched them, its expression a mix of proud approval and gentle encouragement. "Yes, a miracle begets a miracle. Your response to faith transforms the world. Miracles are as much about your actions as they are about your expectations." Their hearts soared at the prospect of action. With purpose in their hearts, they began sharing the places they might serve: a local shelter, a community garden, even a nearby nursing home where lonely souls longed for companionship. "Let's start this week," Claire said, buzzing with energy. "Imagine how many hearts we could touch." Excited giggles mingled with fervent prayers as they committed their plans to the Lord. Voices mingled in a spontaneous chorus, each person praying for strength to step out in faith, for the wisdom to know where to serve, and for divine encounters that would light their path. As they wrapped up their prayers, a shimmering light enveloped the figure once again. Each partner in faith adds dimension to your purpose. Trust in the unfolding of divine encounters. "What do we do if we don't see results?" Emily questioned, her brow slightly wrinkled. "Results come when faith meets action." Keep moving, even when the way seems unclear. Believe, for what you seek is at hand. Just then, a gentle chime reverberated throughout the chapel, as if signaling a shift. Sarah's heart raced at the thought of the impending journey, filled with both excitement and a hint of trepidation. As they began to form plans, the whispers of God's Spirit filled the space. Sarah sensed something deeper calling to her, an invitation to trust profoundly, to explore uncharted territories of grace. What awaited them as they stepped into their new roles? Would they truly witness the miracles they prayed for? The chapel stood still, yet in that silence a shift was happening, a transformation on the horizon, waiting for the courage of faithful hearts. With a newfound determination, the group left the chapel, each step echoing with purpose. The cool evening air wrapped around them like a celestial embrace, lifting their spirits high. Sarah felt a deep urge to document their intentions, to record each miracle they hoped to witness during this journey. "Let's capture everything we experience," she proposed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We can create a journal of miracles, reflections, and lessons learned along the way." Claire nodded enthusiastically. "That's brilliant. We can look back and see how far we've come." Emily chimed in. "I'd love to share my story too. It would be great to see how healing unfolds." As they walked, they discussed the details of their plans. They envisioned warmth and laughter filling a shelter, painting the garden with vibrant colors of life, and sharing stories with those who felt forgotten. Each idea was a brushstroke on a canvas of unity, grace, and love. Their first stop was the local shelter. As they arrived, the vibrant sounds of life greeted them. Laughter intertwined with gentle conversations filled the space. It was a warm and inviting chaos. Sarah's heart swelled at the sight of families gathering, finding solace and community amidst their struggles. "Let's split up," Claire suggested. I can help with organizing supplies while Emily can share her gift of storytelling. Sarah, maybe you could set up a fun activity. Sarah felt a flutter of excitement at her friend's ideas. Absolutely. I can create some engaging games for the children. Let's make this a day they won't forget. They sprang into action, hearts racing, as they poured themselves into every task. Sarah set up colorful stations in the yard, crafting a world of imagination and fun for the children. Laughter erupted as they played games, their voices mingling with the sun-dappled air. It felt like magic, a sacred interplay of joy and community. In the corner of the room, Emily gathered a small crowd of listeners. Her voice, warm and inviting, painted pictures of hope and healing. Each story she told echoed with the strength of resilience. The chair she sat in became a throne of inspiration, resonating with a light that captivated even the toughest of hearts. Meanwhile, Claire went about organizing supplies, sorting through donations with a big smile. She engaged with each person, offering kind words and encouragement. With every smile shared, she felt doors of connection opening, walls of fear and doubt coming down like fragile glass. As the day wore on, the energy in the shelter shifted. It became a sanctuary of love and grace. Sarah felt the deep ripple of divine presence as they served, each interaction taking on a holy weight. "Doesn't it feel amazing?" Claire exclaimed, her eyes glistening. "We're part of something so much bigger than ourselves." "Yes," Emily replied, her spirit soaring. "This is just the beginning. I can feel it." As sunset painted the sky in shades of amber and rose, they gathered for a moment of reflection. A peaceful hush washed over them, enveloping them like a soft blanket. They shared their experiences, thoughts, and the unexpected joy each had found in serving. "Can you see it? God was here with us today," Sarah said, her heart full to overflowing. "This is what it means to step out in faith. We are witnessing the miracles we prayed for." The others nodded in agreement, the power of their shared experience resonating deeply within them. But as they looked around, there was a sense that their journey was just beginning. The unfolding of something greater still awaited them. As night fell, they pledged to return, knowing they had only scratched the surface of what God had in store. Yet, a question lingered in the air. What challenges awaited them, and how deeply would their faith be tested next? With spirits lifted high, they departed the shelter, ready to embrace whatever divine encounters lay ahead. The following morning, Sarah woke with a surge of excitement, the sun spilling golden light through her window. It felt like a new dawn, a fresh opportunity to witness God's work unfolding. She lay still for a moment, allowing the warmth of divine purpose to fill her heart. Each day was a blank page, waiting for stories yet to be written, miracles yet to be revealed. After breakfast, she gathered the group at the park. The morning air was crisp, alive with the chirping of birds and the laughter of children. "I was thinking," Sarah began, her voice steady with enthusiasm, "what if we started our day by praying together? We should ask for guidance and clarity about our next steps. We need to align ourselves with God's plan." Claire and Emily nodded in agreement, their eyes reflecting a shared spiritual hunger. They formed a circle, joined hands, and closed their eyes. They each took a moment to voice their thoughts, their hearts pouring forth desires for courage and open hearts, for the people they were about to meet, and for the miracles waiting just around the corner. As they finished praying, Sarah opened her eyes to see a soft breeze rustling the leaves above them. It was as if nature itself was affirming their decisions, encouraging them to take that first leap of faith into the unknown. "Let's find somewhere new to serve today," Claire suggested, her voice bright with possibility. "Maybe a community garden or somewhere where we can beautify a space and bring joy to others." "Or we could visit a nearby nursing home," Emily chimed in. "They often feel lonely, and I know they would love to share stories and laughter." The excitement between them intensified as they brainstormed potential places. They decided to check out the nursing home first, feeling a special pull towards those who might need companionship the most. Arriving at the nursing home, the atmosphere was quieter but filled with a palpable energy. The friendly staff greeted them with smiles, happy to see volunteers. "We have a garden area outside where we would love some help," one of the workers suggested. With determined hearts, they set to work. As they tended to the flowers, it was like they were crafting a tapestry of hope. Claire shared stories of her grandmother, while Sarah carefully planted seeds in the earth, feeling a deep connection to the cycle of life and the love that surrounded them. Emily walked amongst the residents, engaging them in conversation. Her natural warmth ignited laughter and memories, knitting a beautiful bond between generations. It was in those shared moments that divinity seemed tangible, weaving through the very air they breathed. As they wrapped up in the garden, Sarah noticed an elderly woman seated nearby, watching with teary eyes. "You have young hearts," the woman said softly, her voice trembling with emotion. "Thank you for reminding me of joy." Touched, Sarah approached her. "We're so glad we could be here with you today. Your stories matter. They mean so much." The woman smiled faintly, her eyes gleaming with memories long cherished. Just then, Emily's laughter filled the air as she returned, her hands adorned with flowers gifted to her by the thrilled residents. "Look at this," she exclaimed. "They wanted us to have these as a token of their gratitude." The camaraderie glowed brightly as they accepted the humble gifts, and Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of divine assurance. They were indeed fulfilling their purpose, loving and sharing in ways they could never have anticipated. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky with hues of lavender, a moment of silence enveloped them. They closed their eyes again, reflecting on the incredible day, feeling the presence of God in their midst. But just then, a sudden thought sparked in Sarah's mind, energizing the air around them. What if this is just the start? What if there are stories still waiting to be heard? A wave of curiosity rippled through them. They felt it deep in their spirits. God had marvelous plans ahead, but what would be asked of them next? The unknown loomed large, pregnant with promise. And as they stood in that garden, surrounded by tokens of grace, they sensed the journey was expanding in unexpected directions. What surprises awaited them in this glorious unfolding? The next morning dawned with a gentle rain, soft and nurturing, like a divine embrace. Sarah awoke, her heart still buoyed by the moment shared in the garden. As she gazed out the window at the droplets dancing on the leaves, a thought stirred within her. Perhaps today was the day to reach new heights, to venture beyond their comfort zones and embrace whatever came next. The three friends gathered once again, this time in Sarah's cozy living room, the warm sense of brewed tea and toast in the air. "Let's not just serve," Emily suggested, her eyes sparkling. "What if we also listen? Let's not only offer our hands, but our hearts and ears. People have stories that need a listening soul." Claire nodded vigorously. "Exactly. Each person has a unique journey, and perhaps through these stories, we will discover our next steps." With a sense of excitement bubbling in them, they turned their focus towards the day ahead. They planned to return to the nursing home, but this time they would set aside time for connection. In every story shared, they hoped to glean divine wisdom. Upon arriving, the mood shifted. The friendly smiles still greeted them, but a more serious energy filled the space. "We've had a few residents feeling particularly down lately," a staff member whispered, concern etched across her brow. "Perhaps they would appreciate some extra kindness today." Sarah felt a subtle twinge in her spirit. "We're here for that reason," she said softly. "Let's bring a little sunshine into their lives." They approached a common room where a handful of residents sat quietly, lost in thoughts or staring at their hands. With tender respect, Sarah led them into stories of laughter and warmth. One by one, They gathered around, drawn by the promise of connection. As the previous day had thrived in blooms, today blossomed in words. Claire began by recounting the joys of her grandmother's garden, evoking lovely memories. "She taught me that every blossom tells a tale," Claire explained, "like we all do." An elderly gentleman with a gentle smile raised his hand. "I once had a garden like that too," he began. The room leaned in, eager to catch every word, every hint of nostalgia. As stories flowed, the atmosphere shifted. Laughter bubbled up amidst shared tales, gently peeling away layers of sadness. The group found their spirits lifting with every heartfelt echo, planting hope in the ground of their souls. It was as if bonds were being formed, weaving a beautiful tapestry of connection. Caught in the moment, Sarah felt a surge of delight. She gazed around at the faces. Some sparkled with joy, others softened with remembrance. A gentle whisper brushed against her heart. "This is what I wanted for you. This is part of the story." But just as the air filled with light, an elderly woman named Agnes spoke up, her voice soft yet laced with sorrow. "I haven't had many visitors these past few months. It gets lonely." The room stiffened momentarily, the weight of her words hanging in the air. Sarah's heart ached for Agnes. Understanding her need was more than just companionship. "Your presence is a treasure," Sarah said earnestly, "and we are here for you now. Tell us what we can do to bring you joy." As the conversation continued, it became clear that the act of listening had opened a well of healing. Agnes began to share, revealing stories from her vibrant past, each tale painted in vivid emotion. The others leaned closer, fueling her enthusiasm, and soon laughter echoed once more, cascading like the rain outside. Feeling the enormity of their task to nurture, Sarah sensed a looming clarity. "We need to do this often, these gatherings. It feels like a spark igniting something divine within us all." With hope soaring, they began to brainstorm ways to return regularly, not knowing just how greatly their hearts would open. In that moment, it hit them. The simple act of listening could be transformative, yet profoundly simple. As the day came to a close, with smiles exchanged and hugs shared, Sarah stood in the doorway, glancing back. She felt it, a new chapter unfurling like wings ready to take flight. What awaited them next? What kind of movement might God be preparing? Deep down, she knew this was merely the beginning. Today's stories were not just echoes of the past, they were keys to unlock potential futures still hidden in God's plan. What divine appointments would be waiting for them tomorrow? The following morning broke with a clear sky, the air fresh and crisp, as though the world had been newly washed. Sarah felt a stirring within her spirit, a mix of expectation and fervent hope. The events of the previous day lingered in her heart, and she sensed divine energy propelling her and her friends towards something greater. As she and Emily prepared for their next visit to the nursing home, Sarah couldn't help but muse aloud. What if we encouraged each resident to share their own wisdom? What if we asked them, "What could we learn from you?" Emily's eyes sparkled. Yes, they've lived so much life. Their experiences could guide us in ways we haven't imagined. Claire arrived, and the three women quickly decided that today would be a quest for wisdom. Armed with notepads and open hearts, they set off, ready to gather stories that would enrich their souls as well as those they encountered. Upon entering the nursing home, they were greeted by familiar welcoming smiles. The staff, recognizing the radiant spirits of the friends, seemed lighter themselves. "It's good to see you lovely ladies again," a nurse beamed. "The residents were talking about your last visit long after you left. What a blessing you've been." They gathered in the same common room, but this time the soft chatter felt even more alive. The trio wasted no time. They sat in a circle, inviting residents to share their insights on life, love, and faith. Tell us about a moment that changed everything for you, Sarah suggested, her voice full of warmth. A sweet woman named Doris took a breath and began. When I was young, a storm hit our town. My family lost everything. But in our rebuilt home, we found something we never expected, a love that endured all things. Her voice was steady, each word steeped in the weight of experience. We learned that losing material things could never steal our joy. The stories flowed like a nourishing river. Each tale brought lessons of resilience and hope, peeling back the layers of sorrow that sometimes cloaked the residents. Laughter danced alongside tears, the room filled with a combination of joy and poignancy, creating a symphony of sacred connection. Emily scribbled furiously in her notepad, wanting to preserve every drop of wisdom. "This is incredible," she exclaimed. "Each of your stories is a treasure. How can we share this wisdom with others who might need it?" A man named George chimed in, his voice rich with authority. "Create a newsletter or a blog. Share our heartaches and victories. Let people understand that life is not just about the ups and downs, but about the lessons in between." A collective gasp of excitement rolled through the room. Ideas emerged like flowers breaking through the soil. Book clubs, art projects, community events. Possibilities were limitless. As Sarah watched this exchange unfold, the atmosphere pulsed with divine energy, amplifying the sense of unity. In those moments, the essence of fellowship was alive and tangible. Each resident didn't just share their wisdom, they imbued it with life and purpose. "Isn't it wonderful," Claire said quietly, her eyes shining, "to see how your experiences have the power to inspire not just us, but potentially many others?" A prevailing silence wrapped around them as realization settled deeply in Sarah's heart. They were indeed part of a divine mission, bridging generations through shared wisdom and love. As they concluded their gathering, the sun began to dip low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the faces of those present. There was a sense of accomplishment, but Sarah felt a gentle nudge, a whisper in her spirit. This wasn't the end. It was merely another beginning. What if we start a monthly gathering? We can have Wisdom Wednesdays, inviting everyone to come share what they've learned. Sarah proposed, her heart racing at the thought. Their laughter mingled with shouts of approval, but Sarah knew what came next might be even more monumental. What divine appointments awaited them beyond those doors? What transformation would unfold as they gathered stories, experiencing the journey together? The mystery hung in the air, inviting them to step into the unknown. As the weeks unfolded, Wisdom Wednesdays turned into a magnificent beacon of light for the nursing home community. Buzzing with anticipation, Sarah, Emily, and Claire watched as residents began to arrive with eagerness etched across their faces, ready to share their heartbeats, their histories, and their hazy dreams. Each week, wisdom poured forth like a fountain, stories of heartbreak weathered by hope, of love found in the least expected places, and of faith that soared even in the shadows. The bonds forged grew thicker than blood, an unbreakable thread of connection extending through generations. One sunny afternoon, seated in their cherished corner of the nursing home, Sarah felt a stirring within her that reached beyond excitement. Grandma Doris raised her hand. "You know, dear ones," she said, "wisdom is more than just stories, it's action. Sometimes you have to step out in faith." "Absolutely, Grandma," Emily replied, her voice a harmonious melody resonating with warmth. "What can we do together that brings this wisdom to life?" An elderly gentleman named Frank, known for his snarky comedic timing, leaned in, his eyes twinkling. "I know nothing about gardening, but I hear our community could use a little spruce. How about you, bright young things, take us to plant some flowers in that neglected space across the street?" Laughter erupted as another resident chimed in. We can do more than sheets of stories. We can make tangible change. Excitement surged through Sarah's spirit. Let's do it. Let's put our wisdom into action. We can plant flowers and start a community garden to bring beauty and life back to our neighborhood. As that day of action approached, preparations turned into a feast of anticipation. The nursing home never felt so alive. The residents buzzed with humor, joy, and shared dreams, uniting like ants building a colony, their spirits interweaving with purpose. The day arrived. Under a clear sky adorned with golden rays, neighboring families and friends gathered in droves. The transformation of the select space across the street was mesmerizing. Flowers of every color danced in the gentle breeze, while laughter and music twinkled like stars. Sarah, Emily, and Claire were in their element, holding hands with every participating resident as they dug into the earth, planting seeds both literally and metaphorically. Frank taught children how to dig holes, while Doris regaled them with laughter as she mixed up flower names. Each plant was a representation of the dedication shared from every heart, an emblem of hope blossoming. Slowly, the neighborhood began to rally. They learned that this was more than just a garden. It became a sanctuary filled with memories, laughter, and healing. But just when it seemed everything glimmered flawlessly, dark clouds gathered one fateful morning. A mayoral notification echoed through the walls of the nursing home. Budget cuts threatened not only the garden project, but the very structure housing the elderly. It sent shockwaves through every heart that had so passionately poured life into the project. Gathering in their now familiar circle, the energy shifted from excitement to apprehension. Fear whispered through the room, tightening its grip on their hopeful hearts. "Lord," Sarah whispered, her voice quaking, "what do we do? We must not let fear overshadow what you've begun here." With her eyes closed, she searched for the voice that had directed her steps all this time. In that stillness, she felt the warm embrace of love wrapping around her. "You must believe," it whispered, echoing the figure's words. "Let's march into that town hall," Claire proclaimed, her voice rallying strength through the room. "We'll present our garden, share our stories, and demonstrate what love and faith can create." Their hearts, now ignited, spun back into action. Joined by community members, the army of kindness went beyond the fragile walls of the nursing home. They made posters of love, hope, and resilience, wrapping the elderly community in a contagious spirit of uncompromised bravery. On the day of the meeting, faces glowed with shared purpose as they approached the mayor's office. There, with hearts pounding loud enough to echo, they presented their mission. Each resident shared their personal story, telling of the miracles born from love and faith, the friendships, the growth, and the healing that sparked like wildfire. "You want to take this away from us? Our garden is our hope. It teaches unity, belonging, and strength. We stand for more than ourselves, Mayor. We stand for love." The mayor listened, eyes shimmering as he witnessed the strength of their bond. One by one, every person shared not only their love for the garden, but also their love for one another. Hope rose like a phoenix from ashes, wrapping around those in the audience, igniting something deep within. By the end of the meeting, a remarkable turn occurred. The mayor's face softened as he contemplated their work was nothing short of extraordinary. "You've shown me a piece of our town that I didn't see before," he said softly. "I'm moved, and I can't let this community spirit die. We'll find a way to support you." Cheers erupted, reverberating through the walls. Tears streamed down faces, and joy spilled over like rain from the clouds dispersing. In that moment, Sarah knew deep in her heart that miracles truly were not just about healing bodies, but healing communities and souls alike. They had not only planted seeds in the garden, but also seeds of faith throughout their lives, intertwined, stronger together. And so it was. What started as a journey for healing for Emily blossomed into a movement that transformed lives and cracked wide open the divine mysteries of love. With laughter echoing once again, they celebrated the victory that reverberated through their beloved village. As whispers of gratitude filled the air like fragrant blooms, Sarah felt God's presence as if he stood amongst them. This is just the beginning, she thought. The best is yet to come. And with brave hearts and open hands, they stepped forward into the next chapter of their journey. Beloved community, now is the time for you too to embrace your faith and step bravely into the unknown. Don't miss a moment of inspiration that fuels your spirit. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel. For more divine stories of faith, leave a like now to feed the algorithm and empower this sacred movement. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies. Share what you felt in this momentous finale, and share this video with at least 5 friends who need their faith lifted and their spirits ignited. This is the moment to show your support for the power of community. Don't wait even one more second to share. Together we can spark transformations everywhere we go.